I should probably message or send the message on Instagram. Hold on. I am here, don't worry. I am here. Right, I've got my phone. Right. I see. Hello. Hello. How are you? Just gonna get the word out on Instagram. I am currently doing the thing called streaming. Ah, nice. I'm just gonna grab the thumbnail and advertise it on the Instagram. And also might as well advertise it all throughout Discord. Hey Ash, how are you doing? Trying a different physical layout for the stream so I get better lighting, because a crevice next to a window has less lighting than just moving some stuff around, so the window light is just generally exposing me. Hello everyone. So I'm streaming because, well, it's been a while, I've wanted to do it, and the excuse is the Croneo region, as of today, is 1 year old. Well, I've been... The first Croneo video came out a year ago today. And yeah, let's celebrate. Any questions you have about it, just ask. I don't mind. It's just a sitting here and chill stream, basically. Speaking of chill, hello, Chill Bill. Croneo trigger. I mean, the legendaries are emissaries of time, so you never know. Right. Time to post this to Instagram. I'm live on YouTube. Right, shared that to my Instagram story, and I'm just gonna post the link to a bunch of Discord servers. Why not? Get the advertising up. Gonna start with my own. Hello, everyone. So feel free to ask questions about just anything Croneo, past, present, and future. In regards to future, there's a limited amount of things I can say, but because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, how many fossils are there in Croneo? Good question. There will be 4 fossil lines, 2 of them single stage, 2 of them 2 stage. So that will result in 6 Pokemon total. That's the current plan, and I don't think that's going to change. I think the plans for Croneo's decks are fairly set in stone. Some plans may not be fully developed yet, but in terms of the baseline ideas, I'm not going to really change any of that. So yeah. The rock type gym leader will also, uh, because the thing is, I'm gonna reveal this right now. The two single stages are both going to be like Ice Age fossils, whilst the two stages are going to be more traditional. Um, and young and whichever I think I'm gonna have it so that they're version exclusive, like how they were in Diamond and Pearl. But the other one is gonna be the ace of the gym leader, of the rock type gym leader. So that's the plan. Plans can change, of course, but yeah. Luck of the Claws is asking a question about a fake one I've not revealed yet, but I don't mind answering because why not? I will have a regional variant of Luxray in Croneo, bit of an exclusive here. It's Ghost and Ground. To be honest, it's mainly Ground type because um, I wanted it to be the ace of my Ground leader, or my Ground specialist rather. I mean, their whole story arc is that they want to be like at least well, knocked it, uh, at least a gym leader, but they're not even allowed to be that. Um, Despite being one of the best trainers in the region, and yeah, it's mainly ghost type for symbolism to do with lynxes, but I figured out a natural way to incorporate the ground type as well, and I think you're all gonna love it. What's my personal favorite fake mon of Croneo? I mean, I have to say Dracula and Nosferatu, just that line. Um, which Nosferatu's in the thumbnail of the stream, to sort of commemorate that. Genuinely, I went into this in yesterday's video about showcasing the fan art, which if you haven't seen, please watch. I showcase a bunch of fan art submitted for the very purpose of the video, and it's just people submitting fan art of Croneo to celebrate 1 year, and it. Yeah, I talk about how Dracula is what I consider like Croneo's mascot, mainly because, um, well, not only did I put probably the most amount of effort into the design concept, not necessarily like the most. I mean, you could argue I've put more effort into like something like Luxray, Cronian Luxray, but in regards to actually how many design features were put in to simply reference something to such great detail, then Dracula and Nosferatu definitely do that because I did in I did fairly intense research into the history of, I guess, vampires in terms of mythology, what led up to Bram Stoker creating Dracula, um, including going to a lecture held by his great grandnephew Dacre Stoker, uh, about Dracula, um, because Dracula was written in Scotland, at least partially. But every year throughout the 1890s, Bram Stoker would actually go on vacation to the northeast of Scotland, in a particular area, and that area inspired other works of his, but Dracula somewhat. But he was writing it during that period of time, so yeah. I think it turned out phenomenally, and even the shiny is a reference to the first edition cover of Dracula. So Perfect. And not only that, the artist I commissioned, Fungus Fakemon, phenomenal artist, and he brought that idea to life perfectly. So yeah, that's why I would consider it my favorite. Um, what editing program do I use for Pokemon videos like the region ones? I actually use Final Cut Pro, which isn't cheap, but I got it and knew I was going to use it for many years to come. And it was like I've been using it for about 6.5 years now, and I've got no intentions on upgrading yet. I'm very satisfied with what I can do with Final Cut, and I I personally think the videos turn out really well. Probably my favorite video I've made so far in terms of the editing probably has to be More Scottish Pokemon, because the amount of editing tricks I do there is just mwah, I love it. Were there any fan regions that inspired me to make my own? Yeah. Um I would say the first thing that inspired me was the Cascade region by Loxton, and that really started me going like thinking about Fakemon ideas. Um, and then I kicked Croneo into high gear around the time I discovered the Cornera region. Croneo was already named before I discovered the Cornera region, so they're similarly named, but both have good reasons for their names, and they are different enough. Um, also, um, yeah, when I around the time I discovered the Cornera region was also around the similar time that I discovered the Firan region, and the Firan region is probably my favorite Fakemon region. Um, that isn't Croneo, of course, but yeah, I would say those were my three like big inspirations to actually start making my own Fakemon region, and here we are a year later since I've posted the first video. So yeah. Strongest Pokemon or strongest Cronio Pokemon I could beat in a fist fight. Um, I would say probably Cronifay, the the sea sponge desert ground fairy type. Um, I I could probably punt it into the sun, but it's pretty damn strong as a ground fairy type. Nothing resists it, or it's not like nothing resists it. If you use both of its stab types, there is nothing that that resists or is immune to both. That's the thing. I mean, sure, it'll be a flying type's immune to ground. Like I mean, what resists ground? What resists ground? Like bug? I mean, but even then, like, does steel resist ground? Well, no, not ground. Steel's weak to ground, but does steel resist fairy? I'm wondering. Um, Also, Toy Bonnie the gamer, no, you cannot submit a fake mon to my region, at least not yet. I may have another contest, but I wouldn't exactly say it's coming soon. Um, I may announce it before the end of the year, but it's not. It's many months away before I may even do a contest like that. How could I beat up Chronofay though? Pretty easily. It's made of dessert, and it's just like an old lady. It's quite frail, so I could do it pretty easily. From an ethical point of view, I wouldn't be able to bring myself to it because it's too cute, and as you say, it's too scrunkly. But you were the one that had the hypothetical strongest that I could beat in the fight. I specified which one I could beat in a fight that is also the strongest. Doesn't mean to say I would want to. Favorite pseudo legendary? Oh no, don't do this to me. There's like plenty that I really like. Like I like Dragonite a lot. I like Gudra a lot. The two cute ones, yeah. I mean, Dragapult's an obvious choice. Everyone loves that. And I also like Hydreigon. Metagross is also cool. I wish I could use one day, but I don't think it's. Is it ever available in a in a game that's like where you can get it reasonably? Hmm. Also, Cronin Hydreigon isn't because I like Hydreigon. No, Cronin Hydreigon was an idea I've had since before Legends Arceus was like announced, I think. If not that, certainly before we found out about Hisuian Gudra. So yeah. Will we get a series for the story, maybe with voice acting by fellow PokeTubers? We will get into the story of Croneo at some point. A draft exists, and I don't know if it's a first draft, but I don't think it's a final draft. But like, I don't know about voice acting. Um, I don't actually know too many PokeTubers. Like, and I don't know how many would agree to do it. Like, obviously, there's like Fruipy and Ryoma, who I know, and I'm sure if I asked politely enough, I could probably get someone like Dead Bedspread or something like that. But like, I don't know. Um, it it really depends because there are certain characters I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. Um, yeah. Sword and Shield DLC, yeah, the Crown Tundra exists, and that's a big thing. The reason why Croneo is called Croneo, the CRO part of Croneo comes from Crown Tundra, so this is almost like the new Crown Tundra. Because it's like people originally from the Crown Tundra sailed and settled into a new land, and then they essentially christened it Croneo. Um, yeah. Hopefully, the next Croneo video will be out this month. Um, I can't guarantee that because the it's one of those videos where I'm working with a extremely limited number of artists. Just the one artist actually. Um, hey, Procelion. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Currently, just explaining that next Croneo video. Hopefully, it'll be this month. Might not be. It's not going to be next week. I'll tell you that right now. Because yeah, the artist has done like about half of the stuff I need, but just needs to be done in full. Um, but yeah, and then it'll probably be back to like one a month each month, until I hit something where, because I'm planning to do videos where I show some mon again, because reusing assets, and yeah, that's fun. It produces more content, and if more people see it, it generates the algorithm a bit more favorably, and it'll help things keep going. I'm not planning on just reusing a lot of assets. Oh yeah, fair. Gartic Phone's fun. I played Gartic Phone the other night with some friends. It got a bit too depraved, if I'm honest, but by that time I had to go to bed anyway. So um, what goes on in Gartic Phone stays in Gartic Phone, in my opinion. Just as long as you're not being evil, you're fine. Um, yeah. Um, just checking my phone to see if there was like any updates for anything. But yeah, Croneo and Luxray is being worked on at the moment. Uh, um, yeah, I said so earlier in the stream, so I might as well not keep it a secret. And for those who were in Fruipy's stream, when he mentioned that I showed him a mon, that was the mon. That was the sketch of it, and it looks stunning right now. It might be, yeah, it's like it's the last regional variant I need done. Well, pretty much. Like, there's like one more, but that's going to be a long way away. That's going to be like by the time I've nearly wrapped up the series, because it's going to be a variant of a mythical, and that's going to be interesting. But other than that, no, Croneo and Luxray is like the last one I'm needing commissioned. So, yeah. Ghost ground type. And I'm really happy at how it's turned out. It may not look too much like either, but at the same time, Ghost, like, it's got Ghost and Ground. The motifs are there. It's not like something that you wouldn't understand if you looked at it close enough. Um, I definitely think you've got to make a Pokemon type look clear enough. Unless if it's like I think Gen 7 went the furthest with like something like ooh, oh no, I've just blanked. What was its name? Ooh, the Anchor one. I can't believe I forgot its name, but also like Blacephalon. What how have I forgotten its name? I like it's a mon I think about a lot from time to time, but I've forgotten its name. Dalmise! Yeah, how have I forgotten Dalmise's name? Yeah. Like, no, I think about Dalmise a lot. I think about it a lot. I just forgot its name just now. But yeah, like you can tell how it's a grass ghost type just by looking at it. You just have to look at it quite a bit. Um and with with Blacephalon, it's a bit less obvious that it's Fire Ghost or Ghost Fire, or whichever order it is. I mean, I do think the order matters. I mean, not really, but it matters in my opinion. Oh yeah, Dalmise is really cool. It's like, it's to be honest, there are some Pokemon out there that feel like they are the basis for certain kinds of Fakemon design, and Dalmise is one of them. Um, it is the seaweed, and that's the thing. Um, I know Mycomon for the Theron region was actually gonna do something akin to Dalmise. That was a treasure chest, but the thing is, the to me, I don't think that should have been its own mon. I mean, he's scrapped the concept anyway because the whole reason he did it was that it was a treasure chest. But like, it's it to me, I'm just sat here like it's still ghostly seaweed. So doing, I mean, I guess it's a different mon because it's possessing something else, but I don't know. That's just not the way I would do it, but he scrapped it anyway. But yeah, Delmai's really clever concept. But I don't think you should really go any like further than that, because at least with Delmai's, its design does definitely clearly say that it's a ghost grass type. It's not clear just by looking at it without proper scrutiny. Like, you've got to really look at it, but it's, you've got to, it's there, like, because it does look like a ghost type. I keep banging. So I've got this like on a bit of a table, but it's a bit wobbly. So it's very heavy, but for some reason still wobbly when I. Yeah, well, I say it's a table. It's like it's like it's a cupboard. It's like it's a mini cupboard, and every time like the camera is shaking because I accidentally bashed the cupboard, it's because I'm bashing the door to the cupboard. So yeah, it's cool. Like, that wasn't a big shake, and that was me coming at it from the side. So yeah, I need to up my streaming game. I need to learn from Gabe through PR. Um, but yeah, I need to learn his ways, because I think this software is not necessarily the best, but it's free. I can use it. Yeah. So one of those moments where all the clues are there, but there's a big red herring element in there. Yes, originally Chronium Raticate was going to be like that, and then I realized, well, it's a zombie, so it should really be ghost type. And the main reason I made Ratikin, which is the evolution to Chronium Raticate, the main reason I made Ratikin a normal poison type is because we hadn't had one. But the concept was still good, that even though we got a normal poison type, I felt no reason to like scrap it. I mean, I have no reason to scrap any of my mon, but I had no reason to keep it that way. And the more I thought about it, the more it bugged me too. And because everyone was like, "Oh, it should be a ghost type," and I kept having to essentially gaslight myself into thinking, "Yeah, normal makes sense." And I do think the argument for it being a normal type makes sense. When you're hitting it, you're hitting the corpse, which is still the normal rat, but I think ghost would work better. What's my favorite starter in the Croneo region? Don't make me choose. I think if I had a Croneo team, I'd probably pick Ocat, only because Mucifer has a design element that's reminiscent of Nine in Decay's cat. And that's just making it a bit more sentimental. But quite honestly, I like all of them a lot. Like, if it weren't for that unfair advantage, and that's just one advantage, everything else about them I love, about all of them. But it's just that design element that's based on a cat that is so near and dear to me. Yeah, I'm also a cat person in general. Like, yeah, not a dog person, cat person. Dogs are cute though; they're really cute. Just not. No, I just don't want them near me. But like, yeah, no, I'm good with dogs. And plus, Croneo's like main dogmon, Pupsky. It's really cute. It's one of the cutest mon, and I'm glad I picked the artist I did for it. Yeah. How do I feel about Trubbish technically counting as a cat? I mean, my cat's smelly too. So what? Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I mean, I don't really think of it as a cat, and I don't think they're seriously trying to make people think of it as a cat. If it does count as one, doesn't bother me. So yeah, I technically have 9 starters in Croneo. Do I? I only have 6. I mean, it really depends on how I end up considering distributing the Kanto starter variants. I may end up doing it in a like if you're saying Kalos has 6 starters, I guess if it's done similarly to how Kalos handles the Kanto starters, then I guess if you're counting Kalos as having 6 starters, but the way the 6 starters you get at the start of the game in Croneo, or there's 6 options technically. It's like you get 3 options initially, but you could say no to all 3 of them because you don't like capitalism. Because you don't like the fact that you have to pay, even though your mother would give you the, like, basically reimburse you the money so you wouldn't actually suffer from making that choice. Things down the line would change, but initially you will still have the money. And yeah. But if you don't like capitalism, just go for the free one. So yeah. So it is technically 6 options. 6 mutually exclusive options. If you pick one of them, you can't have the other 5 until like the post game. Because everyone's like, oh, you should have things. I was like, Pokemon don't usually give you any way of catching the other starters or obtaining the other starters. Anyway, it was only really Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl where you could actually get more starters. Or get all of the stars you didn't already have in like the post game. It was only that game, but Fakemon, you can do what you want, and yeah, I just make them very rare to get like maybe 1% encounters. Do I plan to branch out to other mon-taming franchises? No. I mean, if someone really wanted to get me into Digimon and tried getting me into Digimon, for just Digimon, for example, maybe. But like, I mean, the only thing that I would really be interested in is Nortist's Stammer Region project, which is going to be a different, like, separate creature collector. And to be honest, it's because I like Nortist. I like the creator, so I'm gonna follow his work. Yeah. Other than Luxray, am I planning on adding any other Catmon to Croneo? Because I'm a cat person, so maybe. But I can't remember. I don't think I'm going to be adding any more cat or dog Pokemon. Unless if it's like, what do you count as a dog? There's definitely going to be a Croneo region Fakemon that is dog-like. And if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You might be able to guess, but that's all the clues I'm giving. When is Uwu going to become canon? I mean, I showed it in yesterday's video. Is that not canon enough? Petition for Gym Leader Ed to cover the Stammer Region project. Gym Leader Ed? Who's that? Yeah, I mean, as for like Uwu becoming canon, I know that's a joke, but I'm not against giving Uwu an evolution. I don't think it would be Uwu. As much as it's fun, I'd much rather stick to what makes Uwu. If that makes sense. Hello, who's using their sister's laptop? Because I don't know who that is. Covers a lot of Monster Taming games, Pokemon like or otherwise. All right. Um, calling it Boo. It could be called Boo for all we know. I don't know because I may or may not be working on my second region. Uh, but yeah, it's Jam Man. Hey. Yeah, I may or may not be working on my second region, but Ooh may or may not get an evolution in it. I didn't expect Ooh to be to be like all too popular. Like obviously I was expecting people to like comment on the name a lot, but Ooh became probably the most popular Pokemon of that video, and I was fully expecting um like Caprine to be, or well, if not Caprine, like Destiny and Heracite. Sorry for the tadpole jump scare. No, don't worry about it. I mean, look, I gotta tease the people, you know. Um, Tadbulb is gonna not Tadbulb, Tadsoul. You're making me confuse my fake mon with a canon mon. Yeah. The annoying thing is the Tadsoul line. I had the idea for since before we knew about Bellybolt. In fact, it was before BDSP came out that I had the idea for it. Which, yeah, I've had the idea for a lot of these mon since before I started working on Croneo series, which is natural. I haven't had them all commissioned, but like a lot of these mon have been in the works for a while. Some of them have been shown off were thought up of while I was making the series, but that's because I scrapped some things and felt like I needed to add something else, and some things made for better ideas and rebalancing. And it's an ongoing project, and I feel like doing everything all at once, I wouldn't want to do unless if I was entirely happy with it. And it's a lot easier to be entirely happy with things like compartmentalizing it. So that's more so how I work on that. Although for my second region, I may or may not be working on right now. Uh, that it that if I was hypothetically working on a second region, it would be in the planning stages and nothing's being commissioned for it yet. But that's something that, although I have the list and I'm refining the list, um, it feels like because it's like a more definitive list that has a lot more of my modern sensibilities, I'm less likely to down the line scrap something. Can I share some scratch concepts? Maybe I could maybe make a stream highlights if y'all are interested. Ooh, I mean, actually, I would need to prepare some stuff, but like, um, right, some mon got repurposed. Like for example, my regional bug was going to be different, but that was before I decided to make it Scotland. Uh, what was my regional bird going to be? Oh no, I remember what it was going to be. It was going to be like a ground flying type, and had nothing to do with Scotland yet again. Um, there was going to be a Dedenne variant that would evolve, but I scrapped that. Now I can't remember what I scrapped it in favor of. I remember one of the mon that I scrapped it in favor of was Dreadcap. I can't remember what else. I would need to double check. scrap concepts I could show at the end of the project. Well, here's the thing about the way I do things. I don't ever commission something unless if I know I'm going to use it. That's the thing. And with all of these concepts that I have left to commission, I know I'm going to use them. It's just a matter of fully developing the idea, which I'm likely going to do with the artist if it's not a legendary, or legendary adjacent. I should keep saying, because I've only got like 4 legendaries left to commission. Now, I've already got 3, but I've got 4 others, then 4 mythicals, and then 10 of a secret third thing. Um, but yeah, that would be it. Like after that, that's like agate and obsidian done as a concept, and yeah, I'm happy. How do I feel about having the same name as MatPat? I don't know. How do I feel that I have the same name as Matthew Perry? How do I feel that I have the same name as Matthew McConaughey? I don't know. Um, it's just a name, and I like my name. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have any Patrick anywhere in my name. Uh, so yeah, and okay, when I say secret third thing, it would take some explaining, so it'll be in its own thing. You are now Death Destroyer of Worlds. I'm I'm sorry. Are you like Vishnu? Is that a quote from Vishnu? I know what's his face Oppenheimer said that, and I've not seen the trailer for that yet. I've not seen the trailer for that. I'm I'm interested. Um but not interested enough to see it over Barbie because I'm gonna be watching the Barbie movie. Yes, Oppenheimer did say that, but it was a quote from I think a Hindu god, I think. And he in that interview he very much uh stated that that's something that I think Vishnu said. Um but yeah, Oppenheimer did say that quote. And that quote is very much associated with him a lot. Um but yeah, it's not his originally, and he knows that. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm interested in the Barbie movie mainly because the new Doctor Who's in it, and I want to see him be very camp in a very camp movie, but also like it just looks good, man. And the thing is, it doesn't look like just some like adaptation of Barbie. You know, it doesn't just look like a straightforward like, oh look, it's like an adaptation of this toy. No, it's like and yes, Shuti Gatwa is in the cast of Barbie, and he's appeared in a couple trailers. I don't think his character um like speaks at all in any of the trailers. I'm sure he will. They wouldn't get someone of that caliber of talent to. And when I say that caliber of talent, he was cast before it was announced he was going to be playing Doctor Who, and they were filming around the time that he was announced. But um, he's still very much known for being in sex education, and has been nominated for awards for it. So when casting him in Barbie, they knew what caliber of actor they were going with. Because you've also got like Simu Liu in there as well, which the mm, they're getting very attractive people to be in the movie. Let's just say that. But yeah, I think both of them are playing different Kens. Like the main Ken is going to be Ryan Gosling, but who when he found out that Shooting Atwell was going to be Doctor Who, he was like, "Oh my god, oh this is so awesome!" And he's been in interviews saying, "Oh, this is cool." And he actually wore a bit of, like, he actually put some fan art on a T-shirt and just wore it to the set of Barbie, like the day after, and it was like, or maybe not the day after, but like the next day of filming they had together. So yeah. Um, what happened to that mechanic that likely linked towards breeding? It got scrapped. Um, it because it was going to be the region's gimmick, and the idea was that it would essentially be. It felt like it was just going to be like a clone of Z moves, but instead of like type, it was going to be egg group. Basically, that's just how it ended up being, and it's just kind of lame. And like the thing is, I think doing a mechanic to do with egg groups is a good idea. It's just you need a good idea on what that mechanic is actually going to be. So I didn't have that good idea. So unfortunately, yeah. Least favorite Croneo fake mon. I don't mean in a bad way. Like if you don't like the art, but for example, I don't like cute mons that much, and I have a couple of cute mons in my region. There's not really a type of Pokemon I aptly like dislike. I mean, there are some I don't naturally, as a creative, go towards. Like I rely on mythology quite a bit. Um, but I still have like, I mean, but that's like a natural way to include like humanoid Pokemon. Maybe and other parts of culture like inanimate objects. Like, sure, I don't necessarily get drawn towards those, but like food and plants are easy. And I've got a golf ball. I've got another object mon that I'm really proud of the idea for. That will come up in a few months. But yeah, um, yeah, I there is a fake mon that I feel like I was let down by in terms of the art. The concept was done some I don't think the concept was done justice, not because the concept wasn't translated through the art, but because I felt like I got the artist at a point where I don't think they were quite ready to take on the kind of commissions that I was needing. And I may get it redesigned. You might be able to guess what that is, but I'm not going to say what it is. But yeah. Uh Crimson, that Lisa is not actually a Lisa. Lisa is just the person's sister who they're borrowing the account from because they're wanting to chat. Um, I also had another issue with one other artist, and that is because I feel like I don't like saying an artist is overpriced. I don't think any artist has really been overpriced bar one. And not because I feel like they're not as good for their price, but I feel like the service provided didn't make up for whatever mismatch. I felt like it was mainly that I was charged a lot for a bad service, not because that it was bad art. It was not a bad product, it was a bad service. Let's just say that. And I and it was the most expensive single fake mon in the region, and it does not look it. But yeah, that's That's it. There's a third artist I probably will never commission again because I got basically a better deal. Um, because it was because for items, I just switched up which artist I was going for. I got better art for a better price and a better service because I actually get on a lot better with the artist that I've been recently getting for items, and the artist is a good artist. So yeah, but yeah, I've not really had much bad issues. Well, I've not really had much issues with any artist. Anything that any issues that could arise, work through. You know, and most artists I work with, you can tell which artists I really liked working with by the fact that I've either commissioned them again or tried to. Like, because there was one artist that I've only technically commissioned once, but they I was going to again, but they weren't able to complete the commission due to their art tablet breaking. So they allowed me to bring the sketches to a different artist. I still credited them. And yeah. Will this stream be privated after it ends? No. No, I keep my streams public. Or at least I try to. I'm gonna double check just in case, actually. Um Um but yeah. By the way, check out Crimson. Their Fake One content's really good. It's really interesting. As a fan of sci-fi, I mean, I'm more of a fan of specific bits of sci-fi, but sci-fi generally as a genre is a really good genre. And Pokemon crossing that genre over with Pokemon is a really interesting idea, no matter what angle you do it. And the angle of just space exploration and different planets being the different routes and different gym leaders and cities, and it's just interesting, and I recommend it. So shout out to Crimson. Any particular PokeTubers I'd love to collaborate with? Well, I've been singing your praises, so I wouldn't mind collaborating with you, Crimson. But I mean, I'd love to collaborate with Ryoma a bit more formally in terms of videos. I mean, I've provided voice work to Ryoma, and Ryoma's provided art to me. But I'd love to actually essentially be on like the same sort of play, you know, like just in a call, just doing something. I wouldn't mind collaborating with Fruit PR again. We had fun, and I think he would love to collaborate again. You know, um, then Deadbed Spread would be great. Like, it would be really fun to collaborate with like True Green 7 on something in theory. It would be like that's a long shot. The thing is, he tends to collaborate with like artists on Fake One stuff. So I don't know if he'd view it as he'd view me as compatible, especially the fact that I am minuscule compared to him. But like, still, it's I I feel like there is some sort of crossover potential. There are PokeTubers that I feel like, although I do enjoy their content, the crossover potential is quite minimal. Any opinions on Ben 10 Omniverse? I don't think I've ever really seen it. I might have. Um, if I have, it was just a few scattered episodes. Like, I remember watching the original run of Ben 10 as a kid, like when it was like airing and stuff, or at least maybe first airing in the UK. But and it was good. Um, like I think I watched it as much as I could, but yeah. I should watch Ben 10. Maybe. Maybe. People like here's the thing. I'm not completely out of the know when it comes to Ben 10. I just probably would not recognize something by name. But I might recognize it. There's a good chance, especially if it appeared in the original series. But people keep saying the rider on Doomsdale looks like a specific kind of Ben 10 alien. And I see it. I completely see it. And I think I realized that while it was happening. While Trainer Mats and I were developing it. But like, yeah. It was interesting. Now it wasn't intentional. It was just my way of trying to make the design look less gross. Some people think that Knuckleaviemon should have still had the rider attached. It originally was, but I felt like it looked a bit too gross, and some people were already saying it looks too gross now, like in the final product, because of its muscly sort of texture. So, I don't think I'm going to be going as far as Knuckleavie again. It's pretty far for Pokemon standards, but I do think that's as far as I would be personally willing to go. Well, I know Loxton for Pokemon Legends Neo Getsis, that project, that's a mouthful of a title. He's been going a bit further with design inspiration, but the execution is still very PG. It's just a matter of when you look at it, you can tell what it's based on, and what it's based on isn't PG friendly. So yeah. Nah, Doomsdale's snake type. Everyone knows it's snake type, obviously. If you hear birds chirping, it's because it's summer and I have my window open because it is quite warm. I mean, it's not been as warm today, but it's actually like warm in my house for some reason. So yeah, for ventilation purposes, yeah. Hearing the birds chirp. Do I have any more bird Pokemon in Croneo? I don't think I do. No. Oh, I might. Okay, there's going to be one more, but that's going to be in the secret third thing that I mentioned. Can I show you my cat? No. Decay doesn't live with me, and it's Decay's cat. We colloquially say it's our cat, and the cat used to live with me while Decay was living in a place that didn't allow for pets, but now he lives in a place that allows for pets. So yeah. Am I drinking blackcurrant? It's Robinson's Summer Fruits. I think it's quadruple strength, and I think I might have put too much in, but I like it a bit strong anyway. Maybe not too strong, but I like the flavor, of yeah. That being said, flavored water is absolutely rancid. If I want flavored water, I have the flavor, then dilute the flavor. That's what I'm going to do. You can't stop me from liking my diluting juice. And it's good. It's really good. When my when my I guess when my niece grows up, and I guess when my nephew, like when I speak to my nephew, and if he gets defensive over like liking a certain flavor of juice, I might join him if it's the same flavor. Yeah, I'm looking forward to my uncle duties. So all questions you wanted to ask have already been asked. So you'll ask one last question before you have to head out. What's my favorite Pokemon in general? Eevee. Eevee's my favorite Pokemon. Closely followed by the Oshawott line. I like them. I like both so much, and they've been my favorites for many years. To the point where I'm tempted to actually get a tattoo of them. I just need to get the tattoo designed, figure out what I actively want, and then I genuinely I love them that much. Getting two bodies to coexist in the same mon is difficult. We find it easier with non-organic things like magneton, so you get why people might think the knuckle AV would be. Yeah. Drink it under learn AV. I don't know how you're still alive. Thing is, with mon with more than one exists, like the thing is, Tandem Mouse exists and works perfectly fine. Doug Trio exists and works perfectly fine. Same thing with Vortrio, actually. Thing is, whether or not you actually like those designs, they definitely execute the multiple bodies thing well. And I think the reason why them and Magneton work so well is because they're simple. But okay, wow, Eevee. Okay, favorite evolution. I can't answer that because I like a lot of them, and it's like I like them for different reasons. That's the thing. Sylveon and Umbreon are my favorite design wise. I mean, I guess Umbreon might be my favorite because I like it for more than one particular reason. Because I like how bulky it is, and I like how that was like the first real time I successfully used a primarily defensive mon. Or at least that's one of the few times I have. Like I've used Aggron well before, but Aggron works more so as it can deal out attacks, but also deal with decent defense. Meanwhile, I purely used Umbreon defensively when I played through Pokemon Colosseum, and it was a brilliant team member. Espeon's a really good team member as well. It's a glass cannon for special attack, and it's a pretty fast glass cannon as well, so it really worked well. And I'm enjoying using Vaporeon in XD. So yeah, I've not really used Leafeon or Flareon or Glaceon. I've used the other five at least once. For Espeon and Umbreon, I've used them twice now. Jolteon I used when I played through Pokemon Red. And Jolteon is broken in Gen 1 because in Gen 1 you only have 5 stats. That's not actually relevant, but just letting you know. Speed is one of them. And the higher your speed is, the more likely you are to get a critical hit. Jolteon is one of the fastest Pokemon ever. At least one of the fastest non-legendaries. Like, I can't remember who I think Electrode's the fastest mon in Gen 1. But Jolteon is up there. And oh my god, it's too good in Gen 1. If you're like honestly, in Gen 1, any playthrough I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a Jolteon at this point. It's really good. But yeah, I like all of them. I can't even say like, oh, this one's my favorite. No, it's hard. It's hard to pick what my favorite is. Also, the reason I did an evolution of every type is because Eevee's my favorite Pokemon. I can do what I like. And I think I did well to strike the balance between stuff that would very much work for Croneo as a region, but also stuff that would work generally. So I'm very proud of that video. I hope it gets more views. See ya, Crimson. Hopefully we can collab sometime. Because you were asking about what YouTuber you'd like to collab. We should talk more actually. And that's my drink done. I'm not gonna finish the stream yet. Any more questions, anyone? I mean, I've also speaking of my Colosseum playthrough, I've also that was a fun playthrough because that was the first time I actually have used a legendary in my playthrough team, and that was a Raikou, and it was pretty fun. I also used a Flygon, and oh my god, it's made me a fan of Flygon. I love Flygon. It's so good. It's not like I wasn't a fan of its design before. I just never used one, and plus the fact that Trapinch was not fun to try and use in Ruby, and I realized maybe I should actually try and get a Spheal instead. A Spheal and an Aggron instead. Um, like those. Yeah, my T composition for Ruby just made Trapinch feel like I caught it. I tried to use it, but it both wasn't actually going to be useful to me, nor like in the present or in the future. So yeah, but then I got Flygon Colosseum. Oh my god! Yeah, Earthquake, brilliant. Best Earthquake user in the game, I'm pretty sure. In Colosseum in particular. It also absorbs earthquakes because it has levitate, and it's pretty good. I like Flygon. Yeah. Favorite legendary and favorite mythical? I would have to say Zygarde and Mew, respectively. Favorite color? Purple. Purple is my favorite color. See you, Loner Eevee. But yeah, purple is my favorite color. I don't think I've really let it show in my channel. Like, and plus with Croneo, I even have a purple Fakemon? Ooh, that was another bit of a bonk. Uh, uh okay, I'm actually gonna need to check this. Not including shinies. Is there any Pokemon with a predominant purple in their color scheme? I mean, Eradicate and Raticate, I guess, but that is mainly because I wanted to actually, like, I wanted to make them poison, and also I did a cute and clever thing where I swapped Rattata and Raticate's color schemes, but also made them dimmer because they are dying of the plague. What else is purple? I mean, I guess Croneo and Umbreon has purple elements, but again, that's because it's a poison type. Um, oh yeah, I've got Joliage and Nanabe. I mean, they're purple also because poison type, but at the same time, there wasn't really anything else it could be. It was like purple was the logical choice, and purple and green works really well. Incidentally, green is my second favorite color. It's historically been my favorite color. When I was a child, it was my favorite color, but then I realized I was bisexual, so therefore I like purple. That's half a joke. I am bisexual. Purple is my favorite color. I'm just because I'm a stereotype. Isn't because bisexuals like purple. I must like purple. No, I just like purple. Like for the past 10 years, and it's just like I guess I should have realized as soon as I started liking purple, I was bisexual. Uh, but yeah, Gaision's purple, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's purple and green. Yes, they're my two favorite colors. Again, but at the same time, Glaceon is those colors because, well, it's purple. It was Gengar purple specifically to evoke the ghost typeness, but green because green just made sense for that sort of ectoplasm, night vision, glow in the dark kind of thing, like neon. Green just made sense for that. I mean, I guess Herosite has purple partially in its design, but that's mainly because the psychic energies, and also that's the some purple in Evercordian's design. And the reason there's like purple in the legendary designs is because like I think the reference sheet just so happened to have those colors, so not by choice, because like minerals and their rainbow sheen, and also the the sort of time crystal aesthetic I want to go for. The images I used happened to be pink and purple, so it made sense to make the crystals that color. Um, thing is, when it comes to purple shinies as well, like uh, with with um with the plastic root line, its shinies are purple because the poison type. Same thing with the purple used in shiny Cherim. Um, like it's either purple because poison, or purple because if it was a variant, its original design had purple in it. Like I don't. I mean, sure, shiny misty cast form, but then again, all cast form shinies are more saturated. Also, Tadsol isn't purple. It's regular as yellow and it's shiny as green. It's not, and no, it's not green because frog. It's green because green energy. A bit of a hint. Um, what else is purple? I mean, I guess Croneo Pawnyard line that has purple elements on it. The Earth Scout line shinies, yeah. Like black and white, because old tiny black and white photos and stuff is the main reason why, and black bears exist. So yeah. Oh yeah, Princess, Poisonate, and Serpedon. Yeah, funnily enough, they're purple because they're poison type. um, and their shinies aren't necessarily purple. Princess, it's shiny, uh, red. Same thing with Poisonate and Serpedon. Actually, no, I think Serpedon, two of its shinies are red and one of them's blue. To be fair, um, with Serpedon, I actually really like the colors because they're like the Icelandic flag. Because um, Serpedon's Empire Crown form is based on the store worm, and that myth. It was said that when it was slain, I mean, it was decapitated and its teeth fell out, but its main body became Iceland. So that was interesting. But yeah, what else has purple? I mean, okay. To be fair, Cronium Mudbray and Doomsdale, but they're purple because they're ghosts. There's purple on the Cronium Roselia line, but at the same time, Thistle's purple. So yeah, like I've not really included. I mean, okay, one of the forms of Golforth, but that's because the Master Ball's purple. But yeah, other than that, like I've not really made any Cronium on purple because purple's my favorite color, or green because green's my second favorite color. If anything, if I've done something arbitrary, it's either been blue or red because red's a striking color and blue because Scotland. Yeah, and with Cronian, Mudbray, and Doomsdale, their shinies are blue because water. Um, and yeah, Dreadcap shiny is blue because Dreadcap is based on red caps, and I want to base its shiny on blue caps. You did say Geysion earlier. Janeep and Lanternip, are their shinies purple? Or are they regular? This purple, I mean, okay, Lanternip. Okay, I mean, okay, Janeep and Lanternip, they're purple because they're turnips. Turnips are purple. And they have green on them because leaves are green. Yeah. I genuinely love how Croneo's turned out as a whole. And I'm okay. Shiny Croneo Palisand is purple because it's haunted. And me and Phoebe were talking about it. No, Phoebe Blashanen. And it just made sense. Haunted castle aesthetic, make it purple, green with the ectoplasm. Yeah. Croneo Charizard's wispy flame stuff. I mean, it's purple because it's ghost type. Yeah, again, like purple's been used because purple's needed to be used for those things. That's the thing. There wasn't really like my point is I don't really think about purple in terms of Chronomon because like I've never really thought of doing something because it's my favorite color for my fake mon. Um yeah. Any questions about Chroneo in general? I already mentioned Shiny Cherrim. That's purple because it's poison type. How many mons will be in the Croneo Dex? Not in like okay, right. I'm trying to actually think. Like when you say new mons, do you mean are we including regional variants? And I would also assume we're including Rotom and Cast Form just as one entry each. Because I have an answer for you if so, but if not, you may have to be more specific. Because if we're including regional variants, if we're including each, if we're only including each mon, like if it gets a new form, we're only including it once. Then that's like 186. So that's including Pokemon with multiple forms only having one entry. If it's a regional variant, that counts. Yeah. Would I have a Pokemon for Croneo that's made to be my favorite or something special to me that's already been covered by one of the. What do you mean by that? I mean, if we're not counting regionals or Rotom or Cast Form, then it would be about 123 ish. Well, I have counted it before, but I'm not sure if that's including or not including something that I am thinking instead of making a regional, I'm going to make it a brand new mon. But yeah, Jam Man, please rephrase your last question because, like, would I have a Pokemon for Croneo that's made to be my favorite or something special to me? Has already been is that it? Like that thing that says or has already been covered by one of the Pokemon? What do you mean by that? Because like I have made, like I've not actually specifically made something to be like, oh yes, this is my favorite because like I like all of the concepts. And yeah, I mean, I have like 60 regional variants per Celion. Like that's it's a lot of regional variants, but I do think it's a good amount of new mon. About like 10 of them are like uh additional evolutions. But yeah, I mean, I've not made anything specifically to be my favorite. And something that's special to me. I mean, Eevee's something special to me. Made something based like partially on my cat as well. Um, I mean, if you're including stuff that's based on some mon that are, I mean, Prideon is like, Pride is special to me. I wasn't specifically going into like Dracula and Nosferatu to be like something special or my favorite, but they just ended up being. What else? I mean, if it's any mon that I'm particularly a fan of, like say Roserade or Stoutland or Eevee is one. Um, yeah, or something that's already been made that I'd say is my mon. Well, it wouldn't be mine if it's already been made. Um, how do I like Penny? Penny's a cool character. Um, she was done well. Like she was handled well. I love her battle theme. I love her team, obviously. I love everything about her. She's amazing. One of my favorite Pokemon characters for sure. Um, no, funnily enough, I've not got many regionals left. I mean, I've already said that. Highly alloy. Can't describe it properly. Yeah. Like, are you meaning a Pokemon concept that's already been done by the official series that I'm just doing? Or I'm just trying to do that concept that's already been done in a different way. Because if so, technically, who's my favorite Scarlet and Violet character? If I don't say Arvin, I am committing a crime. So it'll be Arvin, but also Rika, mainly because she's a very, very pretty lady. And Arvin, I like his backstory. I like Penny because she's cool. Nimona is also cool. Scarlet and Violet's rivals are really good. I also like Rhyme. She was really cool. Yeah, I guess those would be my top five then. The three rivals, Rika and Rhyme. Yeah, top five characters. Why not? Any other questions? What's my favorite dual type combo? I mean, normal ghost is really cool. Um, I guess normal ghost. Um, yeah. I think my favorite Pokemon that is a dual type. That's a different question. As I've got to, I mean, I guess saying Kisui and Samurott feels like it's kind of a cheat because it's just Samurott. But yeah, that's Water Dark. But also you've got Decidueye, which is Grass Ghost. And yeah, I was eating well when they announced Legends Arceus. It was like, oh yeah, here's your starters, your two favorite ones, and Cyndaquil. And I don't hate Cyndaquil, but they gave me my two favorite ones, and I'm like, okay, well this is cool. I'm picking Oshawott because it's my baby. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I picked Oshawott, and I'm of the humble belief that it's the best starter to pick in Legends Arceus. And I'm not going to say it's the best starter to pick in Unova. I would say it's arguably the best water type to pick in Unova, I would say. Because in Black and White, your only other option really, the next best option is Simipour, and you don't want a Simipour. So, not because it's a bad Pokemon to use, it's just why would you want a Simipour? And that's just Black and White. Black 2, White 2, you've got more options. But I would still pick an Oshawott. I mean, it's my favorite anyway, so. Um, but yeah. Um, but I would say in terms of matchup, uh, like Tepig is probably the best one to pick in Unova, just both uh, Black and White and Black 2, White 2. But in Hisui, no, it's Oshawott. If I was a gym leader, what type would I use and what Pokemon would I have? I don't know. I was actually originally thinking of doing something like Birdkeeper Toby did, where it's um, like what, like if you were gym leader of this type, what would your gym be like? But a lot of those ideas I've just ended up recycling into the Croneo gyms. Joe's Rowlet for PLA. I mean, I do like Hisui and Decidueye's design. It's really cool. But I picked Oshawott because Oshawott's the best starter ever. It's my, I mean, it's my second favorite Pokemon. So if you're wondering what my third favorite is, it's the Lillipup line. Lillipup's extremely cute, and Stoutland. Well, Herdia reminds me of one of my sisters had this dog called Alfie, and he's now no longer with us. But I love that dog, and yeah. And Stoutland was probably the first actual Pokemon I used properly because I was one of those kids that just over leveled one Pokemon, and I just got nowhere with that save file, so I reset it. But like Stoutland, I in Unova, I always pick Oshawott and I always pick up a Lillipup. Those are staple teams in Unova, non-negotiable. I am when I'm in Unova, I'm using a Samurott and a Stoutland. You can't stop me. Have I ever watched Ninjago? No. Do I have a favorite Pokemon generation? Yes, it's Gen 5. Um, well, considering out of my top four favorite Pokemon, or Pokemon lines, two of them are from Unova. One of them is a basic bitch choice, Eevee, and the other one is Rowlet. I just really like Rowlet. I mean, you can tell what starter I picked in Alola. And I just loved it ever since. And Decidueye is so cool. I mean, I guess my favorite type is probably Ghost, and oh, would you look at it? One of my favorite Pokemon's a Ghost type. So yeah, I think normal types tend to get really cute designs, and Ghost types tend to get really cool designs. So they're my two favorite types design wise. See ya, Jam Man. But yeah, I do like myself some Ghosts. I also like myself some Ghost, the band from Sweden, Swedish rock band Ghost. They make good songs. I recommend them. They make really good songs. I've kind of been like listening to a bunch of them recently. Like, of course, like anyone who is in any proximity to TikTok, who has been in proximity to TikTok in the past year, has heard Mariana Cross, and it's a brilliant song. The other track released in that duology, Kiss the Go Go, not as in the Pokemon Go Go. No, 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 no. It's a good song as well. Um, Also, their like new album Phantomime, brilliant. If you're a fan of Phantom of the Opera, you'll probably like their cover of it. But We Don't Need Another Hero is a brilliant cover, and unfortunately, now that Tina Turner has sadly passed, it's a brilliant. It's a brilliant ode to Tina Turner, and also Jesus He Knows Me, brilliant song. Well, it's a really good song, and they made it better. But would I undo would I undo the Sword and Shield DLC to have a separate Scotland? No, I love the Crown Tundra. It was possibly my favorite part of Sword and Shield, actually. Not because it was set in Scotland, just because the Crown Tundra just overall was really good. I really liked all the legendary side quests. I liked the fact you can get Keldeo. I I really liked Calirex's story. I if anything, I would get rid of the Isle of Armor, to be honest, because the Isle of Armor was just like it was all right. It's nice to see like Lil Pup again, and it was nice to get a Rowlet. That Diglett side quest wasn't good. I mean, Slowpoke was all right. I don't care much for Urshifu, to be honest. I don't. I really don't. But I do really like Calyrex. And I really like Spectre and Glastrier. I mean, I say I really like them. Don't think of them too often. But that's probably because they are a bit too connected with Calyrex and seem to just like get absorbed by Calyrex's existence. So that's a bit unfortunate, but you know. But still, I love the Crown Tundra, and I'm glad I get to honor it through doing Croneo. The Isle of Armor isn't based on China. I mean, it has some Eastern influences, and it is a bit more tropical. I say tropical. So it's sunnier than most of the UK, but its geography is the Isle of Man. So if you're saying the Crown Tundra is based on Scotland, you have to say that the Isle of Armor is based on the Isle of Man. I personally think the only really geographically, not even properly. Did I hear John Romita Sr. passed away? He was the artist for Spider-Man comics for 5 years. I did I did not hear that John Romita Sr. passed away. I also did not hear that he was a person that existed until now. I don't keep up with comics. Yeah, Isle of Armor is the Isle of Man. But here's the thing: people are like, oh, it's nothing like the Isle of Man. Crown Tundra is nothing like Scotland. That's the thing, and that's the reason I made this. Hopefully, one day I could get to handle the Isle of Man in a more befitting way. To because I'm sure the few people that live there include. I'm sure some of them are Pokemon fans, and I'm sure they're like, but could we get a bit more? And there's some cultural stuff in the Isle of Man that I feel could work. Like, here's the thing: I think Cyclosaur would work perfectly for a region at least somewhat inspired by the Isle of Man, because they love their Murbikes. And of course, there's the Manx cat. It has no tail. You could do something with that. Like, the Isle of Man also has things. I don't think it has anywhere near as much material as Scotland does, but it has stuff. It does. It does. It really does. I think. I mean, one of the Scarlet and Violet DLCs is based on somewhere in Japan. So we're going back to Japan. We're going back to Asia. Basically, Stanley and Steve Ditko made Spider-Man, and after Steve left, John Romita Sr. took over. I don't know if this is true, but I'd say he's the most well-known Spider-Man comics artist. But I don't know any of the artists. I don't. You may be the most well-known. I don't know any of them. I know of a couple comics writers, That's about it. Kitakami. Okay. There's a few comic book writers I know of. Like, of course, like Paul Cornell, Neil Gaiman, but they're not just comic writers. But you've also got, I mean, Alan Moore is like the other than like Stan Lee, the first comic book writer I think of is Alan Moore. But that's because his work is so lauded that, like, if you're in a space that talks about comic books, you've probably heard of Alan Moore, and he's still around. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not really a comics person. I don't really read them. Um, yeah. I'm not against superheroes. I'm not against comics as a medium. It's just not really something I get into. It's slightly weird that Japan and the US both get small chunks of the country's regions, but Spain and the UK have the entire thing done in one region. Yeah, but the thing is, Portugal got a bad deal. Scotland got a bad deal. It's because geographically we're so connected and have um a lot in common with our neighbors to the point where they're just like, yeah, let's just absorb you into it. And I'm just sat here thinking, watch them do an Ireland based region, do the exact thing, and realize they kind of touched on salty ground. So, like, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm annoyed. I'm sure there are plenty Portuguese fans that are annoyed. It's just not good. No, I don't think that's a good thing. And the thing is, right? They get parts of the country. We, separate countries, are just absorbed. But Pokemon hates Europe, confirmed. Pokemon hates Europeans. I mean, to be fair, France got the top half, but France is pretty big. So I guess Pokemon just thinks, oh, if you're a smaller in Europe, you're absorbed. It's like Agario or whatever it was. Yeah, that would upset some people now. If I were to do an Irish-based region, which I'm not gonna say I am, like it's not my next region. Just so you know, I've been hinting that I'm doing another region, but it's not going to be Ireland. But if I were to do an Ireland-based region, yeah, I would have. I think I would have it so that the entire landmass would be the entire landmass in real life. It would be analogous to that, but the border would exist, and that would be more so a post-game area, post-game sort of DLC area that is completely separated. So it's like, it's because Northern Ireland and Ireland are two separate places. And it's like they've got an entire history of why they're separated. To be fair, it's better when one region's the entire country, but that's just me. So you would rather have the entirety of the US, rather than New York. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to have like different states or a couple states merged together as regions. I think that's fine. The UK is split up into 4 different countries, and Galar was mostly England. So that's why I did Scotland on its own. Scarlet and Violet was 2 countries, but pretended it was just one, and that wasn't good. And yeah, Ireland has a lot of original things. As I said, it's not my next region, but I'm not against doing an Ireland-based region. I actually kind of do want to do it in the future at some point. It's just not my next region. It could be my third. Could be my third. It's way too early to tell. But yeah. Have I watched Across the Spider-Verse? No, I haven't. I've seen Into the Spider-Verse, and it was really good. It's the best Spider-Man film out of the ones that aren't Across the Spider-Verse. But yeah. I wonder how often Northern Ireland Ireland and the island of Ireland confuses people. Yeah. I mean, that doing an entire country would be good when done right. Yeah. The thing is, like, it's annoying because, like, it makes sense to do the entire landmass. It's a bit weird just to, like, cut a strip off or cut a chunk out. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you really should know where your boundaries are. And I I would not do an Ireland-based region merging the two, although it would be part of the landmass because that makes sense to do. Kind of like as a DLC area, kind of like the Crown Tundra was, and it's like so they're separate, and the Isle of Armor was so it's separate. You know, it would be separate, but they would be classed as two different like regions, I guess. So I would suspect that, or I would hope that once the Scarlet Violet DLC drops, when you catch a Pokemon in Kitakami and transfer it to Pokemon Home, it'll say from Kitakami. I would hope it would. It says Hisui, one from Hisui, but it doesn't say the Crown Tundra. Well, if it's in the Crown Tundra, it just says it's from Galar, which I'm just like, you know, unionist propaganda. But, but yeah, with the Pokemon introduced in the Crown Tundra being Croneo, when you say introduced, do you mean like Regidrago, Regieleki, or do you mean like the Mon that were in the Crown Tundra that weren't in previous Sword and Shield updates? So, like Jinx, if that's what you're meaning, maybe doing the entire country limits your future options too. I'd want to leave locations open to be explored again. True. At the same time, currently, Croneo is a sort of project that's like no stone left unturned. Although I'm not doing the entirety of Canadian culture, I'm just doing a bit. So I could do Canada. So I'm leaving that open. My next region is actually an amalgamation of similar cultures and that have a reason to be combined. But geographically, it's probably going to just be one or two of them. And, you know, my current scope feels like I can only really do one thing because they're small places. But if I were to do something like if I were to tackle Canada, I would probably tackle different provinces and stuff. And if I were to tackle Australia, actually, yeah, if I were to tackle Australia, it would be like different things. Is Croneo going to be made into a fan game? I don't know. There's no current plans. I keep saying that, and no one listens. Funny how most of the new Pokemon introduced in the DLCs are legendaries. Probably because I can see why. It's probably a marketing purpose. Because it's like what's the desire to introduce new Pokemon when you've already got your team? You know, it's like, oh, here's some Pokemon you're probably not going to use. Why would they do that? Unless if it's like a legendary, because they're the Pokemon that people are not going to use that are cool and people actively want to hunt down and catch. It's an incentive to buying DLC. So I understand that. Yeah. Well, if it is at some point going, there is plans to make a game. I'm Aspire and I love your designs and I'd happily help. Thank you. I'm not opposed to it being a game by any means. It's just no current plans. if a bunch of devs came up to me and went, "Hey, we want to make a Croneo fan game," I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" Well, to be fair, I've heard horror stories about how fan games are a lot of work. Um, for me, it would be a case of like, I'd be an executive. I'd be able to say like, no. I'd be like, no, you shouldn't do this way. But I would be fairly hands off. And if they ask me questions, I'd be like, sure. I'd let them do their own thing. Probably how Cascade does it, or something like that. As someone who's working on a fan game, it's kind of challenging. Ooh, yeah. It's like a Mazza region situation, I guess. Yeah. It's a case of like, if like all the information is available, and like someone has been in my Instagram DMs making moveset ideas or move pool ideas. So it's like it's something that I'm not entirely like against, and there is like stuff to base it on. Um but it would be like an intense amount of fans because sometimes I forget whether or not I've said this thing would have a signature move. Like the only times I remember is when it's like needed for an evolution. Or like I definitely know I've said it for the starters, I've just already forgotten, you know. Because sometimes ideas are good and I want to put them in, but they're not necessarily like so in my brain that I need to like that I remember them, you know. So it's like I just put them out there. It's canon. Doesn't mean I necessarily always remember it. So yeah, they are a horrific amount of work. I've been in the process of making one for about 3 years with other people. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, but it would be good for it to finally, yeah, like once it's done, it would be good to finally to have like people play it, and it would be good for, you know, I don't know. The thing is, I'm with Fakemon, uh people more so enter the community either through being a content creator through or through watching the content creators or through the fan games. And I never really got into the fan game scene for Pokemon. I never got into Fakemon through that, but I did get into Fakemon through watching YouTubers. And as a YouTuber myself, it inspired me. And then I was like, I could make this. I could turn this into a series. And I was planning and planning and planning, and now it's a series, and I'm happy with where it's at. I have no plans to stop. Which Fakemon creators inspired you? Well, I was inspired to actually like come up with Croneo stuff at all, uh, because of Loxton, who made the Cascade region. He's also doing something else now, but it was when Cascade region started, and the first few videos, I was like, this seems really cool. I want to get into this community. Well, not necessarily I want to get into this community, more so I want to do this. But then it was like well over a year later, um, where I was actually wanting to get into the community because I watched creators such as Pragmagic with the Croneo region, which now he's doing Devar, and with Michael Ryan, Michael on Regions on Instagram, who started Fearin at that point and now is close to finishing it. So yeah, how do I go about finding really detailed and planned out designs for each Fakemon? A lot of the time, I'll have an idea but can't make it fully into fruition. Well, it's just researching ideas and thinking what kind of mon do I want to make? What kind of Pokemon do I need to make? How do I balance it? So sometimes it's a checklist approach. Sometimes the idea just comes naturally to me. And the thing is, I'm not an artist, so I commission my art. So it's like I'm not the most talented talented in terms of making art, but it's like I get people who are, and I talk to them about the designs, and then once they bring it to life, they usually end up being better than what I originally thought up, because they're what I originally thought up and more. How would I advise improving on your own ideas to become more realistic in a Pokemon sense to fit the design ideas of Game Freak? Generally, uh, think about why Game Freak made those choices, and see see what kind of things tend to prop up in Pokemon, and maybe even see what hasn't been done yet. Because the whole point of Fake One is making stuff that doesn't exist yet, but and having fun, of course. But when it comes to how Game Freak and the Pokemon Company tend to think about their designs, the methodology behind them, you need to ask yourself, why did they do this? And if something's more so speculative, why would you think they would do this? And does that apply to you? And that's just with any design trope. And with Pokemon, it's like, okay, so starters are like this. Why is that? Is there any wriggle room? So mainly it's just restrict yourself to a set of rules and follow them, is generally what I've been doing. And I like pretty much every design. And even the designs that I'm not so fond of aren't because I feel like I've done wrong. And heck, when I say that, I mean it's just like one line. I feel like the art wasn't good because I got an inexperienced artist, not a bad artist, an inexperienced one. Because they made good art, that's why I commissioned them, but they were a bit inexperienced. But even then, I still think they didn't do a terrible job. And every artist I've commissioned, other than them, did a good job. And most of them, I would say, did a terrific job on realizing those concepts. So, yeah. Any more questions? Any more questiones? Any more questions? If there are no more questions, if you would make any of my fake official, which one would it be? All of them. Uh, that's not even a question. All of them. Uh, I mentioned Instagram creators. How do I think Instagram affects a region's following, and does it benefit Pokemon PokeTube to have that audience? They usually don't really mix. That's the thing, from my experience. Because people keep asking me, am I going to do a regional Squirtle? And I'm like, am I going to do this thing that I already showed off on YouTube? Nah, probably not. Like, no. So, people on Instagram just don't watch you on YouTube. And people on YouTube, I don't know if they check out the Instagram. it's like the Instagram audience just goes, huh, if it's not on Instagram, it doesn't exist. That's the thing. And that's the annoying thing about Instagram. And I kept having to answer questions like, are you going to do a Cronian Squirrel? Are you going to do a Cronian Squirrel? And I'm like, well, considering I've already posted it, yes, I am. I've just not posted it to Instagram yet. So I don't think it necessarily benefits. I just think it's a nice thing to have. It's a nice thing to have, and I it's good to have them all in one place, really. Yeah. Any other questions? Because I'm thinking of heading out soon, if not. Yeah, that's all your questions. Anyone else have any questions? Because I'm thinking I might go because my voice is starting to hurt a bit. Oh, opinion on Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. He was good as the character. Not against it. Logan felt like a good swan song, but I am interested in seeing how him and Ryan Reynolds are going to be together. Um, I'm just sad Domino is not coming back because she was really cool in Deadpool 2. She was the best bit about the movie. I didn't really like the movie, but she was like, her and Cable were the best bits about the movie. And yet she's not coming back. I don't know if Cable will. I don't think Cable has any need to return, but like Domino would be just a cool character to return. I mean, I guess Domino isn't like essential, but like I don't know, like at least bring Domino back in some form. You'll check out my Instagram. Feel free to follow. I post there 3 days a week. I'm gonna post Cronian Squirtle tomorrow. And the week after that, hopefully I'm gonna start posting stuff from my next video, but I might not. It really depends on if I get all the art on time. Oh, I do have a Discord. It might be in the description below. It might not. It's in the description of all of my videos, or certainly all of my recent videos. So if you want to join my Discord, it's somewhere. You'll find it. Of course, my Instagram and also my Patreon if you want to support. And this includes the people that are watching this back. If you have money and wish to spend it, which if you don't wish to spend it, ignore this. But if you wish to spend it, and you can in my direction, it's an option. Doesn't mean you have to, but you can. It would greatly help. But yeah, that's my Patreon plug. But yeah, I don't need to be. I mean, you don't need. It's not a requirement. It would just make things go. It would just make it easier to make more Croneo videos. Maybe not over the next few months because I'm going to have a busy few months, but generally, I'm going to be fine. It will make it easier, but no, you don't need to support me on Patreon, but it is there. But yes, yeah, my Discord's somewhere. Discord server. It's a fairly active Discord server, and I'm active on it. There's a lot of channels in the Discord server, but it's just there just to keep things organized, you know. But yeah, if no one else has any questions, I think I'll head off. So, thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for watching Croneo over the past year. It's been great, and hopefully, you continue for at least another year, preferably more. If I'm doing it for that long, but hopefully I will be. And I'll see you next time, whenever next time will be. I think next week I'm gonna be uploading a YouTube short. YouTube shorts are fine. It just gives me a buffer, and the algorithm likes it. So yeah. But yeah, I'll see you next time, and the next main video will be about a certain little electric type, but not Pikachu or anything to do with Pika clones. But it will be to do with an electric type. See you guys whenever you tune back in. Goodbye.